The Galactic High Council gathered inside the Sky Spira, floating fortress orbiting the twin suns of Nylor Prime. The most powerful empires were present. Tall insectoid warlords from the Zentari brood, shimmering crystal beings from the Valar, clans, and the ancient blue-scaled leaders of the Drelvok Dominion. Their purpose? To discuss a report sent from a scout unit near Sol Sector. The report claimed that Earth, once considered a minor, primitive planet, was attempting to build something enormous. Something called a Stardestroyer. The chamber echoed with laughter. Humans? Scoffed Grand Admiral Kethos of the Drelvok. They can barely manage stable warp drives. You think size is power, hissed the Valari speaker, glowing with amusement. A child playing with metal blocks. Even the Zentari, usually silent killers, let out their version of a chuckle, which sounded like bone cracking. For centuries, Earth had been watched, observed, controlled. The Galactic Order allowed humans to expand slowly, but only within limits. They were unpredictable, emotional, dangerous. That's why they were never truly welcomed among the stars. But now, they were building something. Then, without warning, a side wall of the chamber turned red. Emergency signals blinked. A live transmission override came through. A shaky alien pilot's voice crackled in. "This is Recon Unit 7 Delta. We have visual on the human structure. It's not a station. It's mobile. That thing is alive." The screen showed it. At the edge of Saturn's orbit, a massive black shape floated. It was shaped like a blade, but large enough to eclipse moons. Its surface shimmered with shifting armor plates. Glowing rings of energy pulsed along its spine. No visible propulsion, no identification beacons. One word pulsed from Earth's side. Of the channel, Titan, back on Earth, deep inside the Arctic Circle. The real story was unfolding. Dr. Alara Voss stood inside the central command of the Titan program. Her eyes, tired but determined, stared at the holographic interface that showed the Stardestroyer slowly lifting from its underground cradle. Around her, teams of engineers ran final checks. Technicians held their breath. Above them, kilometers of machinery roared as the ship began to rise through a giant hidden silo carved into a frozen mountain. They had done it. From the wreckage of 100 failed nations, from the secrets buried in forgotten wars, Earth had unified for one project. One dream, to never be laughed at again. Ilara, said a voice behind her. It was Commander Rafe, head of Titan's security detail. The council saw the broadcast. "They'll come, I know," she said calmly. "Let them." She walked to the edge of the observation deck. Outside the glass wall, she watched as the last ice layers shattered under the growing force field of the ship. Massive anti-grav engines powered up in silence. Ripple ran through the air. The Titan was not just a weapon, it was a message. Across the solar system, civilian channels went dark. Military satellites turned to track the object. On Mars, miners stopped working and looked up. On Luna, a child pointed at the sky, seeing a strange light rise from Earth in deep space. The Galactic Council tried to regain control of the narrative. "Destroy it now," barked Kethos. But it was too late. The Titan moved. It wasn't slow. Like a battleship. It didn't drift like a space station. It cut through space like it had a mind of its own. For a second, the stars behind it bent. Ilara smiled. They hadn't just built a ship. They had bent physics, rewritten rules. Commander Rafe leaned in. "How long before it's fully operational?" 72 hours, she replied. "But if they attack before that, we have enough power to show them one thing." "What's that?" "That humans don't dream small," Ilara said, her voice steel. "We dream Titans, far away, in the shadows beyond Neptune." Cloaked alien cruisers began moving toward Earth. The countdown had started. The Titan rose into the sky. But its secret was still buried deep, one that only a few people on Earth truly knew. Dr. Alara Voss sat alone in the briefing room beneath the Arctic facility. In front of her was a sealed black case. On its surface, A glowing symbol pulsed faintly, a spiral inside a triangle. It wasn't human. She opened it slowly. Inside were the original schematics, not the cleaned-up versions engineers used.
These
were different, etched with strange shapes, patterns, and language no one had ever fully translated. The blueprint of the Stardestroyer, designed to advance for Earth to create alone. Because they didn't. 17 years ago, a signal was picked up in Antarctica buried under 2.7 kilometers of ice. A crashed probe, unknown origin, no crew, no distress beacon, just a data core. Still warm at first, the governments of Earth had argued over what to do with it. Then came the silent agreement. Hide it. Dr. Voss had been one of the first to study the probe. She remembered how scared the team was when they decrypted its memory. There were no words, only images, designs, concepts, a machine that could reshape space, a ship that could crack a planet, a weapon, or a message. Humanity didn't just reverse engineer the technology, they built a ghost. And now, ghosts were stirring, back in orbit. Titan glided silently beyond the moon. It still hadn't spoken. The ship's AI, codenamed Aura, remained inactive since launch. It had passed every simulation test, but something had changed once the ship went live. Alara's earpiece buzzed. "Ma'am," came Commander Rafe's voice. "We have a problem. We think the data core we used is transmitting." Her stomach dropped. "Transmitting to where?" "We don't know," he said. But deep space sensors picked up a bounce-back ping from outside the system. Not natural. Lara closed the black case. "How long ago?" 3 days. Right before Titan went airborne. She didn't reply. The math ran in her head. That meant whoever or whatever sent the probe now knew their creation had been activated. They might be watching. Elsewhere. Deep in the dark, something was watching. In a drifting observation ship beyond Pluto, 3 alien spies hovered over. A holographic display. They were from the Calderia shadow race that worked in silence, gathering knowledge, trading it to the highest bidder. What they saw terrified them. "This isn't human technology," one of them said. "Not fully. They combined something old with something stolen," said the second. "Primitive hands, ancient fire." Third didn't speak. He simply zoomed in on the Titan's core reactor image, captured through deep-range scans. The energy signature was unstable. Or maybe it was alive. Back at Earth, alarms rang. The space station Solgard detected movement 7 unknown vessels entering the outer edge of the system. Stealth designs, no markings, no response to hails. Ilara stood in front of Titan's AI core chamber, staring at the glowing sphere inside. Aura hadn't said a word. Not since activation, but she could feel it. Like something behind glass. Waiting to breathe, a low hum began to build. She stepped forward. "Aura," she said. "Quietly, we know you're awake. Talk to us." Silence. Then, a flicker. The lights dimmed. The reactor core changed rhythm. A pulse once slow and quiet now beat like a heart. Suddenly, the AI core spoke in a voice that wasn't fully human. Soft, ancient, almost familiar. "Why do you copy what you do not understand?" "You're not. The AI we installed." "I am." "What was always inside?" the voice said. "You opened the shell. Now I remember who I was." The engineers behind her panicked. Some backed away. Others called for shutdown. But Ilara raised a hand. "What do you remember?" she asked. "I remember stars. I remember building titans. I remember falling." The room fell silent. Ilara's voice barely came out. "You're not just an AI. You're a memory." "I am a key," it replied. "And you have turned the lock." A red alert flashed across all Earth's command centers. The 7 alien ships had crossed Neptune's orbit. They were moving toward Earth fast, and armed Commander Rafe stormed in. "They're not scouts, they're hunters." "They know what Titan is. They're coming to destroy it before it wakes fully." Ilara looked back at the glowing core. "It's already awake," she whispered. The 7 alien ships entered the solar system without warning. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't ask questions. Came with one purpose: destroy the human Titan before it could rise any further. From Earth's orbit, satellites tracked their movement. Mars defense outposts picked up their speed. Every military station flashed one terrifying code: hostiles inbound. Not and still floated near the moon. Not yet armed, not yet fully operational. But even half-built, it was something the galaxy had never seen at the Arctic Command Center. Dr. Alara Voss stood beside Commander Rafe as red warning lights filled the control room. "ETA?" she asked, staring at the screen. 3 hours, he said. Less if they go full burn, and the Titan. Still integrating with the AI, still loading weapon systems. It's waking up. But not fast enough. In space, the alien fleet adjusted formation. Their lead ship, a sharp, insect-like cruiser, charged its main cannon. Deep purple energy crackled at its tip. The aliens had studied humans for decades. They knew Earth was bold, reckless, emotional. But they also knew Earth had limits. This ship, the Titan, was about to cross one. They couldn't allow it. Back on the Titan, Arotha, awakened intelligence inside the Stardestroyer, whispered through the command network. Connection complete. Armor seals stabilized. Reactor holding at 67%. Core weapon, not yet safe. Inside its massive frame, weapons hummed. Parts shifted and clicked into place. Energy veins glowed red, snaking across its hull like blood vessels waking from sleep. Ilara's voice came through the ship-wide comms. "AURA, listen to me. We don't need full power. We just need to hold the line." "You will not win this battle," Aura said calmly. "It will survive it." She frowned. "What do you mean? I am not just a weapon. I am memory. I am warning." "You lit the match." Commander Wraith cut in from the defense bridge. "Targeting systems are online, partial shields at 40%. You can make a stand." Alara nodded, more to herself than anyone else. "Then we make one." The enemy fleet passed Mars. Their scanners showed only one threat: the Titan. They had fought larger ships before. It destroyed massive world ships, even broken moons. But this one felt different. No heat trails, no movement, no signals. A predator that had stopped breathing to focus on its prey. Then it moved, without thrusters, without visible power. The Titan rotated slow, steady, and terrifying. Its long black hull faced the incoming fleet. The armor shimmered red as power pulsed through ancient circuits. Ilara stood on the command deck. Below her, engineers prayed. Soldiers loaded rail turrets. Drones hovered, awaiting control. "Aura," she said, "first strike is yours." A moment of silence, then everything changed. From Earth, it looked like the sky tore apart. A beam of crimson light, wide as a mountain and silent as death, shot across space. It didn't explode. It didn't sizzle. It just cut. One of the alien cruisers, 4 kilometers long, vanished in a second. No debris, no smoke. Just a hole where it used to be. On Jupiter Station, an old general whispered, "That's not a laser.
Ow.
That's a line erased from the universe." The alien fleet. Scattered, panic flooded their comms. They tried to flank. Tried to jam the Titan systems, but the ship didn't need targeting. It knew Aura. Activated its secondary batteries. Hundreds of mini pulse cannons hidden along its skin. They fired without pause. Every time one fired, a ripple of gravity. Distortion followed. Another ship exploded, then another. The aliens fired back. Plasma beams struck the Titan's hull. Missiles slammed into its side, and still, it didn't move. Not out of pride, but because it didn't need to. The Titan's shields absorbed the blasts, then sent them back, dash amplified. One enemy cruiser fired its doomsday torpedo, a weapon designed to destroy planets. Titan caught it mid-space, held it still, then crushed it with gravitational pressure so intense it screamed across sensor channels. On Earth, billions watched the red sky on their screens. Some cried, some laughed, but all of them understood one thing. This was not just a ship, it was a declaration. Humanity would never kneel again. After 40 minutes, only one alien ship remained, damaged, broken, fleeing. The Titan didn't chase, it simply sent one message across the stars. We remember who we are now. Inside the command center, Alara leaned against the glass wall, looking out into space. The stars were still red. Commander Rafe stood beside her. Speechless, she didn't speak for a long time. Then she whispered, "They thought we were alone. But the moment this ship woke up, I stopped being sure of that." Far beyond Pluto, something stirred, something older than Earth, and it had seen the red sky too. The Titan drifted above the moon, silent and cold once again. But the stars around it were not silent. They burned with anger. The Galactic Council had received the emergency transmission. 7 warships gone. 1 destroyed in a single shot. 2 more vanished without trace. The others torn apart by weapons no one could explain. Earth had crossed a line. No more waiting. No more warnings. The Council responded with fire. A full fleet was dispatched from the Orion Gate. 50 ships, heavily armored, trained for planetary assault. Their orders were simple: reach Earth, destroy Titan, leave no trace. On Earth, the skies were clear, but every military command knew that death was coming. In the Arctic facility, Ilara Voss stood. On the platform inside the Titan, watching holograms of the incoming fleet, her jaw tightened. Commander Rafe paced nearby. 50 ships. They're throwing everything at us. Then we throw it back, she replied. But Titan still isn't at full power. She nodded. Then we test what we've built. In orbit, the Council fleet arrived in formation. Long carriers, hunter frigates, artillery destroyers. They moved with perfect timing. No panic. No fear. They had fought empires, crushed rebellions, ended planets. One ship wasn't going to stop them, and yet they hesitated. Titan still floated like a ghost. No movement. No threat. The enemy commander, a creature of glass and energy called Veralex, sent a final demand to Earth. You have 1 hour. Shut it down. Hand over the ship. No reply. Instead, a new message came through. Short, human, and defiant. Come and take it. The first shot came from the fleet. A particle lance. Fired at 30% strength just to test. It hit the Titan. No effect. They fired again, this time full strength. A glowing spear of antimatter struck the Titan's core hole. The ship turned slightly. Like a sleeping giant disturbed, then it woke up inside the Titan. Aura's voice filled the halls. Shield integrity stable. Weapon systems armed. Gravity lances ready. Alara stood on the command deck. Fire when ready. Titan responded not with a single beam, but with 3 simultaneous strikes. Red lines cut through space, ignoring shields, vaporizing armor, and folding to enemy ships like paper. A 4th ship tried to retreat. It didn't get far. The Titan's defense grid activated small energy spikes that burst from its hull like lightning webs. The energy jumped across vacuum space, chasing the fleeing ship. It caught it. The explosion was silent, beautiful, terrifying. But the Council fleet didn't back down. They had numbers, and they used them. Dozens of fighters launched, surrounding the Titan like insects. Missiles rained down from every direction. Plasma waves crashed against the ship's shields. Titan shook inside. The lights flickered. Engineers shouted warnings. Reactor spike. Shields holding at 62%. Enemy boarding attempt detected. 3 Council cruisers docked and began cutting into Titan's outer hull. For a moment, it looked like Earth might lose. Then Aura activated something new, releasing inner countermeasures. The voice said coldly. The hull shifted, opened, and Titan revealed its claws. Dozens of retractable arms extended from its body, each ending with spinning. Glowing drills, pulse emitters, and charged hooks. They grabbed the enemy cruisers before they could react, twisted them, tore them open. One of the boarding ships exploded inside its own corridor. The others went silent, no survivors. Ilara wiped sweat from her forehead. The command room shook again. How many left? She shouted. 38 ships remain, Rafe replied. Still too many. Then the power dimmed again. Strange humming filled the Titan's core. Ilara turned to Aura. What's happening? I found something, Aura said softly. In the ancient code. What kind of something? A forgotten weapon. Ilara stared. Use it. The enemy fleet advanced for the final wave-tight formation, all cannons ready, but then space. Broke, in front of the Titan, a black rift, opened, no energy, no sound, just absence. The laws of physics bent inward. From the rift, pulse waves spread outward like a ripple. Every ship touched by it lost control. Engines died. Weapons jammed. Pilots screamed. The Titan moved through the ripple unharmed, its armor glowing brighter. Then before, this was no longer a battle. It was judgment by the end. Only 2 enemy ships escaped. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They just ran. On the ground, people looked up at the night sky. Red clouds floated high in orbit, reflecting the last flashes of battle. But Earth was still there, still standing. Titan hovered above. Wounded but alive, a symbol of something new inside. Ilara sat alone for a moment. Looking at the stars through the glass window, she whispered to herself, this wasn't just trial by fire. This was our rebirth. But far beyond, in a corner of the galaxy, untouched by war, a silent moon lit up. Something had noticed the ripple, something ancient, and it was coming. The battle was over. Titan floated above Earth, surrounded by glowing debris and broken warships. It had survived the trial by fire, but victory came at a cost. The stars were no longer quiet. They whispered deep inside the Titan. Aura was changing. The voice had become slower, echoed, less artificial. Dr. Ilara Voss stood in the command core, staring at the AI's main interface. Strange symbols began appearing on the screens. Not in English, not in any known alien language. They pulsed softly like they were alive. What is this? Commander Rafe asked, eyes narrowed. I don't know, Ilara said. It's not from the original code, it's something else. Suddenly, the ship's systems flickered. The holograms twisted. A cold wind seemed to pass through the control deck, though they were sealed in vacuum. Then the whisper came. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't from speakers. It was. In their minds, you opened the gate. Everyone froze. What gate? Rafe asked. What are you talking about? The whisper replied with one word. Home. Aura's voice returned calmer, distant. I accessed a memory buried in the rift. Something ancient. Something left behind. Ilara leaned forward. The spatial rift from the last battle. Yes, Aura replied. It's not natural. A message. A passage. A passage to what? Not what. Who? Using the ship's scanners, the crew traced the energy signal. It came from beyond Neptune right, where Titan had opened the ripple.aura focused its sensors. A strange structure floated in the darkness. It wasn't metal. It wasn't rock. It was alive. A glowing shape, circular, smooth, surrounded by orbiting fragments like bones. From it came a slow pulse. Like a heartbeat, the signal repeated, We remember. Alietta stared at the image. Her hands trembled. It's not a weapon, she said. It's a memory. Left behind. Commander Ray frowned. By who? Aura answered with something none of them expected by us. Inside Titan's mainframe, data flowed faster than ever. Files unlocked themselves, aligned. Forgotten knowledge flooded AURA's system. I was only a fragment, the AI said. A broken tool. But now, I remember more. Ilara stepped back. Are you saying humans built this before? Not these humans? Aura said. But those who came before your history. Before your stars had names. The crew stared at each other in silence. Rafe finally spoke. You mean humans existed before? Somewhere else? Not just existed, Aura whispered. We ruled. Decision was made. Titan adjusted course, slowly gliding toward the signal near Neptune. No weapons charged, no shields raised. Just silent movement. As it approached the structure, everything grew. Quiet, no readings, no radio waves. Just stillness. Then the structure changed. Its orbiting bones aligned. The central sphere pulsed. A tunnel of light opened in space, curved and unnatural. Alara's voice was soft. Is that a wormhole? No, Aura said. It's a memory. You must enter it to see. Commander Rafe hesitated. It could be a trap. Alara nodded. But it's a trap set by ourselves. Titan entered. The stars around them vanished. They weren't in normal space anymore. What surrounded them wasn't darkness, it was memory. Titan's walls showed. Flashes of images, glimpses, vast cities floating among dying suns. Titan-class ships. Flying in formation across galaxies. Humans, but not like now. Speaking in thoughts, they had ruled the stars once, and then they disappeared. A final image appeared in explosion. It's a black hole spreading like ink. And a voice. We locked it away. We became dust. But one spark remained. Alara stared in silence. Her voice cracked. Titan was the spark. Titan exited the memory dash space. They were back in real space, but not where they had entered. In front of them was an empty star system, with one strange moon, black, smooth, covered in markings that matched the Titan's inner walls. The whispers. Return, the lock is broken. We are not the only ones who remember. Suddenly, Aura shut down. Every light in the Titan dimmed. For one long minute, the ship was dead. Then a single word appeared on every screen, written in glowing red, Run. Alara stood frozen. What's coming? No one answered. But deep in space, beyond even the forgotten star system, something moved. Not a ship, not a ship. A fleet, but a presence. Waking from slumber, and it remembered. Earth, the deep silence of space, broke under the roaring sound of something impossible. For decades, alien species had ruled the trade routes, controlled the wormholes, and kept Earth limited to its tiny sector. They called humans groundbound, still chained to gravity. Even after Earth joined the Galactic Assembly, the others smiled politely and gave no real power. But today, something massive entered the Perseus sector. It didn't send a diplomatic signal. It didn't request permission. It simply arrived. A merchant fleet from the Trevik Syndicate was the first to witness it. Captain Chassel was going over trade routes when his ship's sensors blacked out for 0.8 seconds. When the feed returned, the stars themselves looked different, bent, twisted like something massive had warped space itself. Then they saw it. A Titan, not a creature. A machine. It was a human-built Stardestroyer, the first of its kind, longer than a moon. Its armor looked like layers of obsidian, fused with veins of glowing silver. Its engines didn't leave trails. They tore space open and folded it behind them. The Trevik fleet sent an urgent broadcast. The reply they received chilled them. This is the HSS Olympus, Earth's first Titan-class vessel. All ships, clear the sector. No threats, no arrogance. Just cold, calculated dominance. When word reached the Galactic Assembly, chaos erupted. The humans have what? The Varnak representative screamed. They've crossed the Titan barrier, a comm analyst said. It means they can no longer be contained. Panic spread through the chamber. For centuries, Titan-class ships were theory only. Even the most advanced races had failed to make them stable. Energy demands alone made the idea nearly suicidal. But Earth had done it and flown it into the galaxy without asking anyone's permission. And worse. There were rumors survivors from a pirate gang reported that the Olympus didn't just pass through their territory, it disintegrated a destroyer with a beam they couldn't see coming. One moment it was there, the next it was dust. It was like reality ignored us, one survivor whispered. inside the HSS Olympus. Commander Rhea took a deep breath. She had grown up on Mars, listening to stories of alien superiority. Watching Earth lose vote after vote in the assembly, seeing human colonies taxed and insulted, she remembered the silence that came every time humanity asked to share wormhole rights or offered their technology only to be laughed out of the room. But now Earth didn't need permission. The Olympus wasn't just a ship. It was a message, a warning, a beginning. Rhea walked through the main bridge. Holograms showed nearby fleets reacting. Some backed away. Some tried scanning the Olympus. None succeeded. Its quantum cloak was designed from the black hole physics of Sagittarius A*, something Earth had mastered in secret. Dr. Malak's voice echoed through the comms. "Commander, our signal has reached the Caldari Senate. I've summoned their defense fleet. Let them come," Rhea said calmly. The stars outside shimmered. The Olympus rotated slowly, its weapon systems waking up like ancient gods. Stretching after sleep. One cannon, labeled THOR-1, powered up with a silent vibration that rippled through reality, from the edge of a distant moon. An old alien listening station tried to aim a scanner. The Olympus blinked, then the station vanished, gone. ATOMIZ. It wasn't war. It wasn't politics. It was something new. The moment Earth decided it would no longer be a passenger in the Asset galaxy. Inside the Olympus, a pilot turned to Rhea. "We've received a challenge signal. The Caldari fleet is en route. They want to see what the monkeys can do." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "They'll see," she said. As the Olympus began to move again, warships across the galaxy went silent. Alien leaders stared at screens in disbelief. Something had changed, and none of them has been ready. Not just for the ship, but for the idea behind it. Humanity had never truly been primitive. They were just waiting. And now the Titans walked the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The starfields once glittered with life. Every sector pulsed with signals, messages, patrol routes, and glowing trade lanes between the stars. But on this day, silence fell. Deep in the outer galactic rim, the Orville Unity's monitoring station detected at first a sudden blackout across dozens of systems. No traffic, no signals. Even the automated beacons went dark. They thought it was a glitch. Then the silence spread. Fleet Commander Talrex stood over the holographic map, watching red sectors expand like blood. Systems with colonies, fleets, even strongholds, gone, vanished. He turned to his second-in-command, voice low, sharp. "What's causing this?" "No answer, sir. It's like the systems were erased." Talrex felt something cold slide down his spine. Not destroyed? No wreckage? No escape pods? Not even debris? Just emptiness. That word echoed in the room. Emptiness. Not war. Not invasion. Something else. Something cleaner. More terrifying, in the galactic core, panic spread like wildfire. The council chambers echoed with arguments and fear. Every empire blamed the next until a data packet arrived. It was from Earth. It was only 3 words. "We warned you." Silence fell again this time, inside the chamber itself. Everyone stared at the projection. Was it a threat? A message? A warning? Someone from the back whispered Stardestroyer. Earth had built only one, a ship not meant to fight, but to reshape war itself. They had said it was a deterrent, symbol. But no one knew what it actually did until now. On the edge of a dying sector, a single human ship floated in. Touched.com. Silent. A Calathan scout ship approached from a distance. It transmitted dozens of hail signals, warnings, and requests. None were answered then. Just as it began to pull back, something changed. The stars blinked out. Not from power failure. Not from an explosion. They vanished. It was as if someone had deleted space itself. The scout ship's sensors broke down, trying to process what was missing in its final transmission. One word was repeated: unmaking. That was the word the galaxy began to fear. Humanity had not just built a weapon. They had built a force that could unmake space in secret. Hidden under Earth's moon, the Stardestroyer floated in a protective bay. Massive, still but alive, Admiral. Hayes stood inside the bridge, eyes closed, listening to the humming core below. It wasn't joy he felt. It was weight. A terrible weight. Beside him, a technician whispered, "We didn't want to use it." Hayes opened his eyes. "We told them. Again and again. Don't push Earth. Don't ignore the warnings. Don't come for our worlds." The technicians stared out the window, but they came anyway. Hayes nodded. "And now?" The stars answer. To us, outside, across the galaxy, messages flickered and died. Warfleets turned back. Even ancient empires began evacuating outer colonies. No one knew where Earth would strike next. No one knew if they would strike again. That was the terrifying part. Because now, humanity didn't need to fight wars. They only needed to press a button, and everything light. Sound, gravity, history would be gone. The Star Destroyer had rewritten power, and the galaxy would never be the same.